It's one of my favorite Ray Charles tunes from one of my favorite movies of all time, In the Heat of the Night, with Sidney Poitier and Rod Steiger. I can't remember if Sidney Portier actually had three movies out in that same year, 1967. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, To Serve with Love, and In the Heat of the Night. All just classic movies, all in one year, if you can get with that. And he was the top actor at that time, in those like couple of years there, black or white. So that was quite a feat, seeing where Hollywood was at that time. Now you look around and we have a whole lot of color in Hollywood, thank God. We still have problems, but it's a lot better than it was. At that time, there was basically only one cat at one time, and that was Sidney holding down for everybody. And that must have been a hell of a burden, a hell of a pressure on his shoulders, but he did it in fine style. There's not a more class act than Sidney Poitier and them cats like Harry Belafonte and people like that. Not only did they excel in the movie business, they excelled as political activists as well, fighting the fight. I remember a story of Quincy and, not Quincy Jones, Harry Belafonte and Sidney Poitier going down to Mississippi in 1964, I believe, to give the SNCC operators down there trying to free up Mississippi some extra needed cash. And they had to take it down to them actually in a sack. And I remember they pulled up in the airport. It was not an airport. It was like a little runway in the middle of Jackson somewhere or something. And they got out and they saw all these lights in the distance. And Sidney said, "Oh, well, that makes me feel better. You know, that must be the FBI out there." And one of the brothers that was driving the car said, "No, that's not the FBI. That's the client." So they, they had to burl out of there. And luckily, it was like guerrilla warfare down there at that time, man. The cats that actually lived in Mississippi that were activists, they knew what to do to kind of evade disaster and death, unneeded death, So I thought that was a funny anecdote, and to also show the bravery of Sidney and people like Harry Belafonte, where these cats didn't just walk the walk, they talked the talk, So I'm really saddened to hear that Sidney is gone, but he did live a nice long life, and I'm happy for that. His accomplishments, I mean, there'd be no Denzel Washington, you name it, no Wesley Snipes, no whoever, man, without Sidney Poitier. It just wouldn't be. He was the first cat. In fact, I think this first major film was in 1950, man. And so if you can imagine that, that's like right after World War II. And it was a movie where he actually, actually I have one of my favorite scenes in any movie I'm going to show for you right now. And it's not the violence itself that speaks to me. It was at that time, the movie was made in 1967, and it hit that note right on the point where if this incident and this scene had happened maybe 3 years prior, it wouldn't have been good for Sidney's character. But this was like 1967, and it was right on the cusp, and the sheriff, who was conflicted himself, didn't know how to react to what had just happened. But I want to show it to you, and then I'll close out.
Gillespie, Mr. Endicott, this here is Virgil. Mr. Tibbs.
How do you do, sir?
May I have Henry fetch you something? Some light refreshment?
No, thank you. We're right the way we
Oh,
are. I'll have something cold. Something soft. Anything.
Henry, bring in a pitcher of lemonade. I have one, too.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I didn't know it was possible to grow this species locally.
Oh, you like flowers?
I do.
Well, Mr. Tibbs, do you know anything about orchids?
Well, not very much, but I do like them.
Well, let me show you. Endicott's Folly. What do you think?
It's beautiful. It's breathtaking.
Have you a favorite, Mr. Tibbs?
Well, I am partial to any of the epiphytics.
Why, Isn't that remarkable? That of all the orchids in this place, you should prefer the epiphytics. I wonder if you know why.
Maybe it would be helpful if you'd tell me.
Because, like the Negra, they need care and feeding and cultivating. And that takes time. That's something you can't make some people understand. That's something Mr. Colbert didn't realize.
Is this what the epiphytics root in?
My point. They thrive on it. Take it away from them, they do poorly.
What do you call this material?
That's osmondin, fern root.
Well, we don't want to take any more of your time, Mr. Endicott.
Why'd you two come here?
To ask you about Mr. Colbert.
Let me understand this. You two came here to question me?
Well, your attitudes, Mr. Endicott, your points of view are a matter of record. Some people, well, let us say the people who work for Mr. Colbert might reasonably regard you as the person least likely to mourn his passing. We were just trying to clarify some of the evidence. Was Mr. Colbert ever in this greenhouse, say last night about midnight?
Gillespie. Yeah. You saw it.
I saw it.
Well, what are you gonna do about it?
I don't know.
I'll remember that. There was a time when I could have had you shot.
I mean, you think about it. When we think about what we're going through now, people want to fight it. I hear all kind of, white cats and folks. It's like they get, why do we have to keep talking about it? Everything is race? Well, you're not the one having to deal with it. So it may seem like it's irritant to you, but imagine having to continually experience brutality by cops and being followed in stores and all that. That's really a drag, so the two aren't comparable, man. You got to understand that we have this history. It doesn't go away overnight. Basically, what we're saying is we had 350 years of real solid oppression, 250 years of slavery, and then 100 years of, just horrible stuff going on, after slavery. It was as violent, if not more so sometimes, than what was happening during slavery. So it wasn't a dandy time at that time either. So, and you take that on up to the signing of the Civil Rights Acts of 64 and 65. That's, I was born during that time. I mean, I was, born in 65. So, that's not that long ago. I'm here and I'm, relatively young. And so it's not that long. So it stands to reason that we still have issues. 350 years of complete oppression does not go away in 50 or, 50 some odd years. It doesn't happen like that. And people, as much as people get tired of hearing about it, whatever, well, you imagine experiencing it. You know what I mean? So you gotta get over yourself a little bit. So, but anyway, just wanted to dedicate that to Sidney Portier and also to my good friend Todd Randolph and my brothers. This is his ace boom coon, as they would say, his best friend, one of his best friends, and we're gonna miss him dearly. And I know he would have appreciated that song. That would have been, Todd was quirky like that. He liked all kind of off-kilter stuff. So that's dedicated to him too. So peace, love, and like I said, love somebody. And love, let's try to show a little compassion and empathy toward others, man, and get through this really rough patch that we're in right now, okay? So Adventures in Mood City, Philippines signing off. Love y'all.